Welcome to Black Hills of South Dakota, ride number 2. This is Jay from Jay and Zana's Gillette the Razor. I am riding solo today. Zana went off to go look at Custer State Park with the buffalo. I've been there twice and don't need to go back again. So we're going to do a trail ride. Hope you enjoy it. Of course, there'll be editing, so I won't be talking a whole lot, but maybe I will. We'll see. And here in South Dakota, they do require an off-road permit for driving your UTV on the highways, for short distances and so forth, and as well as on the trails. They do not have reciprocity with other states. So, which means you have to get a permit. And I looked at their permit process. What a joke. They want your firstborn and your left testicle. No thank you. Black Hills National Forest also requires an off-road permit. So, I got one of those. That was easy. So, here we go. It's a dirt road at first, and then it gets into the trails. So here we go. You'll notice I'm only using one GoPro camera. That's because these are so old, they don't have gyroscopic stabilization, so they bounce around a lot. Also, even though I got fresh batteries, they don't last long in the camera. The camera itself is so old. So, time for new ones. And I have been using Onyx Off-Road. I've got the Elite membership, so I'm able to see all the private property lines and all that stuff, so you know how to stay out of stuff. So if you're going to be traveling out in the boonies, a lot of places where your cell phones don't work, I have Spot X, the Messenger, as well as a Spot Trace on Gillette, so you always know where it is. Plus, I also have the service from Spot, FindMySpot.com. If something happens, an injury or so forth, I can hit the button and they'll send the search and rescue team out to find me. Plus, I also have Starlink Mini. So I'm always in contact if I can get a hold of the satellite, which is 90% of the time just fine. Which is cool. So, sit back, enjoy the ride. You'll get a lot of engine sounds, but that's the way it goes, I guess. We shall see. As you notice, we had a major thunderstorm through here last night. Scared Designer shitless because of all the thunder and lightning right overhead, and we didn't even have hail. Not last night, the night before, but pretty good. Gillette, I did some upgrades to her, or him, excuse me. First off, I got rid of the stock seat belts and went with 5-point racing harness from PRP. They are great to keep you in the seat, because before we were going on some of these rules trails, I was sliding around too much. These keep you planted in the seat, which is what you want. Yes, when you have to reach things, you have to loosen the shoulder belts to get to them, but that's fine. Also, I changed the air cleaner to a K&N filter with a pre-filter cover over it. Then I also got an S&B filters particulate filter. What it does is it senses the RPM of the engine and it pulls the air in and dumps the crap because of the Venturis out of the airflow to the engine, which also helps keep the K&N filter cleaner. Then, of course, for riding temporarily on streets, I added a horn and the turn signals. So if you use Onyx Off-Road, they have a new feature called Dispersed Camping you can toggle on. So if you're into boondocking in a national forest or BLM land, whatever, it will let you know if the dispersed camping is allowed in that area. So also, I have a couple books for the Army Corps of Engineers to show where their campsites are, as well as dispersed camping for all 50 United States. You can get both of those on Amazon. As you can see here in the Black Hills, there's a lot of debris on the forest floor. And in some areas you can see where they've been in and cleaned it up, but others they haven't. As you can see, someone is dispersed camping. As long as you're within 300 feet of the road, you're fine. Can't go farther than that. Also, you cannot start your own campsite. You got to use existing. As you can see, there's one of the debris piles that they created when they cleaned up the area. Up on the wrong, am I on the right road? No, I'm not. So, let's go back. See one up there, I should have turned it on, not the main one. No, look like I'm again on the main road. Yep, that's the one I wanted. I was going right in the first place. There we are, on the right road. Thought I was, but I just had to confirm it. Zina didn't like these rides as much as she did the ones in Idaho because of the lack of wildflowers, because of the altitude, probably because of the altitude we're at, and the way this forest is, and the floor is so filthy with all the debris that hasn't been cleaned up. It's ripe for a forest fire with all the junk on the floor. We'll see if they start cleaning more of it up. So if you notice my driving on these corners, I'm staying to the outside of the curve so I can see around it, because you can see there's tire tracks from other vehicles or UTVs out here. So I'm staying to the outside of the curve so I can see around it, and also gives them a chance to see me. On these tire tracks, it looks like they were going the opposite direction from what I'm doing. So Monday we did a short ride, or not a short ride. We did a ride. I enjoyed it. Zina had a pucker fracture because some of the trails were steep. And yesterday we didn't do any riding because of the fact of all the storms. So up here in South Dakota, like in the afternoons, you get a lot of thunderstorms because we're up in the mountains. So we had a bunch yesterday, a lot of rain. And today, it's clear the belt. It's supposed to be in the 90s, so that's good. Get to wear some shorts for once. So a couple other things that I purchased for the Razor was a vehicle-specific tool kit. Has all the tools necessary to do a field repair on the RZR if you need to. Also brought my Makita impact wrench. Have the proper size sockets for the tires. Also have a scissor type jack, so I'm going to lift one of the tire up and replace it with my spare. Also brought my deflator and inflator. So that way I can decrease the pressure if I need to, and then put air back in them if I need to also. Yeah, first time I've seen a bicycle on this road. At least I didn't splash it with mud. Also, this RZR came with a winch on it and just a hook. Those hooks have a habit of breaking. The little flap. So I switched to a closed system. I put a eyelet type system where you can use not a D-ring, but a shackle. And I've got a shackle and a soft shackle. So next purchase, I'm looking at getting a tree saver and what they call a donut, so that you can winch yourself out. Use the tree saver and the donut, hook back to your vehicle and tow yourself out. So if you get stuck. It's also a good idea to have a kinetic tow rope with you too, so someone can pull you if need be. So those are things you need, as money allows, of course. We should be getting close to a turning point to head back into the hills instead of staying on this dirt road. Yeah. Here we are. National Forest Service Road 448. And here we go. I may go up and find a spot and stop for a bit. For usual reasons, old man stuff. Now that I can find a spot where I'm off the trail, time for a break. Back at you in a bit. Well, I'm back. As you noticed, I'm talking to you through my communications system. I installed a rugged radio, intercom, and ham radio setup so I can talk on ham radio if I need to also, which is cool. So here we go. After a short break. A couple other things you should bring along on these excursions in your UTV. Shovel, dig yourself out, or you need to dig a hole for personal reasons. First aid kit and toilet paper. Also water and snacks. Or if you're going to be gone for quite a while, lunch or dinner or both. And remember to pack your stuff out. Don't leave it on the trails. Or someone like me is going to get pissed off at you. And I have no compunction if I see you do it to call you on it. Moves. So far, I have not seen any blooming wildflowers. A lot of ground cover, but no wildflowers. Bummer. Because in Idaho, they were just blooming all over the place. Driving my nose nuts, but enjoyed the view. Don't get me wrong, these trails are great, but could be better with more seen, like wildflowers. It'd be nice to see some wildlife, like antelope, deer, or bighorn sheep, but because it's so close to population centers, I don't think we're going to see much. Now we're on trail 6301. This is a little bit more technical trail than what we were on so far. It has a few more rocks and it's steeper in places. And narrower. So this is a trail you wouldn't take a Jeep on, in my opinion. Even though the sign says 62-inch wide vehicles. But that's just me. I'd stick to one of these. Oh, another thing I added to this is the red, white, and blue whips on the back, along with the American flags. Plus, of course, I have two 60-inch flags so people can see me coming. One's American, the other one's "Don't tread on me," or I shoot you. Like I said, this is a little bit more technical than the dirt roads. To me, that's more fun than just going down a dirt road. But that's the dirt road designer style, which is okay. To each their own. And she'd rather be a passenger than a driver anyway, so. There I am, okay, looking on X off-road to see where I was at on the trail. Got another intersection coming up and I go straight across. And yes, that was a kidney shaker. Oh, another thing I added to the Razor was fender extensions. You just saw mud flying everywhere. Keeps it out of the cockpit pretty well. And off your visors. And yes, Glenn and I both do wear full face helmets while we're riding. Just that extra bit of protection. A lot of people don't wear helmets, they just wear a hat and go for it. But some states under 18 you get required to wear a helmet. So that's the way it goes. I shall return. Well, I'm back from the brief pit stop. Onward. A lot of things to learn on these UTVs. One of them is how you grip the steering wheel. Do not place your thumb through the wheel and grab your fingers. Keep it on the driver's side of the steering wheel on it. That way, if you hit a rock or something and it snaps the wheel out of your hands, you don't break your thumbs. Also, keep your arms and hands in the vehicle in case you are on a steep slope or whatever and it rolls over. That way you don't end up missing digits or worse. There have been instances where people have tried to use their hand to keep them from hitting something and they lose their fingers because they get pinched between a rock and the roll cage. So, keep all extremities in the vehicle. I like to leave my elbow out on the rim of the door, and I have to break myself of that habit with this vehicle. It's okay to do it on a truck or whatever when you're on the surface streets or whatever, but when you're out on this stuff, no. So we're almost down out of this ride. We did this one on Monday on this particular trail, but as I said earlier, my GoPro cameras aren't doing the greatest, so it's time to upgrade. So I've been thinking about the GoPro Hero 13 with the media package so that I can plug it into my communication system. Or when I'm not, I can still use an external microphone to make the sound quality better. But that's me. So I've been reading reviews on it. Yeah, see, we're almost back down to the main highway. speed limit out on these roads are 55 or 50 miles an hour, depending on which road you're on. I'm on South Dakota Highway 44 West. And I got cars coming up behind me, so I'm just going to pull over and let them go. That was a fun ride. Give you a look at what they have here offering at this campground. It's time to go park this beast and call it a day and see how well we did on the video, that is. Well, it's been fun talking to you while I've been riding. It's